All right. Welcome here to Health a Second Opinion. Dr. Chad McDill here with you. Excited about yet another week of bringing you some truth and some life and helping you hopefully reach your God-given health potential. You know, so many people nowadays have been caught up with all the things that are going on in the world, and thoughts and prayers out there to all those people who are in the rioting situations and around the country that just experiencing lots of trauma. And I want to tell you that, in our lives, things are beautiful. Our little bubble, as my wife and I like to call it, is going great. Want to say thank you so much to all those people out there who have shown us so much love in the last couple of weeks. Just hundreds of patients have come in and brought gifts and done so many nice things for us, and just want to say thank you so much to all of you who've been so generous to us with our baby Eliana. Let you know that, hey, things are great. She's rocking it. I think she's doing better than myself or the 3-year-old, especially because he got booted. And so he's not able to co-sleep anymore. So that's our only struggle. So I wanted to do something a little different here today in Health a Second Opinion and do some more from the perspective of, as you can see, I've got on my reading goggles, that more of that I've written and a way of thinking of things that hopefully many of you can relate to, whether you're watching this live or going to watch it later or just going to stream it on your own. So this is going to be called the Intangible Connection, Tangible Effects, and reaping and sowing, or the law of cause and effect. We look at the Bible and things were not called law and cause and effect and things like that, but that's exactly what reaping and sowing is. And so hope this brings you a different way, a different perspective of looking at things. So each of us can relate lately to the tangible feeling of disconnection. I think when I look at this, I want to be sure to let people know that I'm not analyzing the necessity or the effectiveness of the disconnection on the spread of the virus. I'm looking at this more in the philosophical impact of that it is having on our souls, our health, our beings, our connection, and what the tangible effects of social distancing, masks, quarantine has done to the whole of society. We know there's an increase in violence and rioting, an increase in suicide rates, increase in bankruptcy, and domestic violence rates have skyrocketed out of control. Substance abuse has hit an all-time record high. And so the lack of the connection is immeasurable in weight, mass, or volume, or quantity, yet measurable in statistics on effects of GDP, the stimulus costs, unemployment rising. We can look at the lives that were lost in social isolation, uncelebrated, and then are passing. These people who had great lives and great effect on our lives, they left this earth untended to and uncelebrated by the masses of people that would have shown them love. This immeasurable is the loss of connection spiritually without our fellowship of organized religion and support of the whole going further as a team, like a flock of geese flying in formation, each taking a turn in the front so as together they can go further than they could as separate beings. Or like the peloton in cycling, each athlete able to go further, faster than they could alone. This is that lack of connection. It's immeasurable. The resilience of one is great for a time and can go on seemingly as unaffected, an immeasurable difference to the whole. Hebrews 10:24 through 25. And let us consider to stir one up another to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as we see the day draw near. So to the body is the same. Each cell unto itself an immeasurable quantity of life, having function and capable, but without connection to the whole, insufficient to sustain life. Well, 1 Corinthians says, or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. And so to this body, each cell unto itself immeasurable with life. We cannot quantify the life that is within each and every of the 70 trillion cells of your body that can stretch from here. If you took the DNA out of those cells, it would stretch to Jupiter. And if you're if you're 6'8" and 300 pounds, well, then it'd go to Jupiter and back with the DNA linked end to end. And so having each cell this much life, but capable of life, but without connection to the whole, insufficient and intangible. Intangible, the connection. Intangible is the mass, the volume, the quantity, or the quality, yet measurable is the dysfunction of the lack of connection in disease of the heart, disease of the kidney, digestive system, the hormonal system, the neurological system. Profound is the measurement when developmental neurology fails. Birth defects, paralysis, SIDS, brain damage, intellectual disability. These things are measurable in their effect. Yet immeasurable is the quantity of life connection it took that was missing to cause such a dysfunction. And so, yet immeasurable is the quantity of life connection that it took to reach such a measurable dysfunction. How much of a disconnection does it take neurologically to create a mental disability in the developmental stages? We have no idea, and it's different for each individual. So too is life, health. All is connected through the nerve system, connecting, regulating the circulatory system, the digestive system, the hormonal systems, the endocrine system, or our metabolism. And so measurable is the deviation from normal to the spine and the phases of degeneration, but immeasurable is the loss of connection in mass, volume, quantity, or quality of life. So this intangible life that we have, that is an immeasurable source or a spark of life from God, is immeasurable. But minus it, take it away from a body part, and the dysfunction, the effect, is measurable. Measurable may be the dysfunction of disease, but not measurable the life. So when was the last time you measured everything, controlling all life's connection of every organ and cell in your body? What you don't know could be killing you. When were your kids checked? Grandkids, your family? What about all the people you know with obvious signs of dysfunction and disease that have these warning signs that their bodies are not functioning properly? Have they even found out if the cause of the dis-ease, the dysfunction, name it what you will, heart disease, circulatory disease, kidney disease, digestive disease, diabetes, whatever you want to call it, is that an organ system failure, or is that a failure of the system to be organized by the central nervous system? Is there a breakdown in the connection to human life? So when we look about all these things, the question becomes, when was the last time you had your spine checked? And when was the last time that you had your family's spine checked? Without that checkup, you have no idea what the health of the system controlling all other systems is doing in your body. So now is the time to be checked up. The best time was the day, I get asked that a lot. Hey, doc, when was the best time? When's the number one time that a person should be checked for subluxations? The answer? The answer is at birth. When's the next best time? When's the next one? Well, I didn't do that. Well, today. When's the next best time? Tomorrow. And so when we look at these things, it's all about getting yourself and your family scheduled. It's all about finding out if your church needs a health talk on diabetes or heart disease, or what kind of, how about whole food? All keto diet is the craze. And so, what about whole food, healthy keto diet? Nutrition. What about cancer prevention? All of these things are stuff that we can do workshops for, and that could be done at a church or at a civic group. But we need people to understand and ask so that we know when and how to set those up. So you can call the office, get yourself scheduled, or you can call and set up those things for yourself and your church. And it's just about taking time. I was very blessed. Sorry, I was looking for talking so much and have been all day. I was looking for something to drink. And so when we were looking at this, we see all the time people in desperate need of a paradigm shift, something that allows them to take themselves from where they are to where they want to be. As Albert Einstein said, no problem has ever been solved with the current level of thinking. So if we change our thinking, we can change our paradigm, and we shift into a different, our bodies resonate, we attract different things, including our focus on health through our habits. And that brings me to the sowing and the reaping. One of the biggest things, so many people this time of year, this sowing, this reaping is cause and effect. It's the law of cause and effect. And so I'm going to ask you a few questions just to get us all on the same page. And that is that, would you sow corn and expect to grow apples? Why then do you sow sickness and expect health? We look at our habits so many times and we say, well, I don't eat right. And I know that, and I know I should do better, and I'll get there. And then we say to ourselves, well, I don't exercise, and I know that's important, but yet I'll get there. Or I don't spend enough time with my family, and so those things are suffering that part of my life but what can I do? And we say these things and we understand the difference that's there, but then we forget that this is the only life that we will have. And with this one life, we get one shot at every day, and the next day will become a today. So there is no such thing as tomorrow. And so it is always about doing it today. You don't plant today and also expect to reap tomorrow. Who would plant a thing of, let's say I plant my tomato plant, and then when I wake up tomorrow, should I expect to go outside and be able to pick a tomato? Of course not. But yet we do things like, or how about this? We plant the tomato plant, and then next week I want a tomato. No, by next week I want 10. Then we go to the gym and we work out once and we expect to feel better and look better and do better. We go there a week, we go there a month, and we expect these things. And yet, why then expect health after one healthy meal? Why then expect life-changing effects? So many people come into my office and they'll say, geez, doc, I want to get adjusted. I want to feel better. And, that's it. I just want to, just pop me. And I think my body should feel better. And it's such a unfortunate communication that we have to go through that is when did this problem start? Well, I don't know. I hurt myself in football 25 years ago. Okay. And then how many other car accidents have you had? And how many other, how much repetitive stress do you have? And how many other things that you've done to yourself? And so you mean to tell me that this damage has been going on and accumulating for 25 years. And then today, in one adjustment, we're supposed to erase all of that scar tissue, erase all of those muscle changes, erase all of those adaptation patterns. And we're supposed to be able to do that in one visit. And with, a lot of people don't even want you to take x-rays of them. And they don't want to, be like asking your mechanic not to look under the hood of your car and just to put his hand on the hood and say, ooh, yeah, it's your alternator and it'll be $200 today. Have it ready for you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a nice day. I mean, it's a joke, right? We all understand that. You got to lift the hood, look under, plug it up to the computer, figure it out, plan it, order the parts, all these other things. But yet, so many people think that health can be like that. And then that's our fault as a healthcare, situation. Goodness gracious, we as doctors, there's so many great-hearted surgeons. I love Dr. Smalley, who fixed my shoulder. And, I love all these people, these medical doctors and nurses and things that we take care of here in the office. But at the same time, we've educated patients that you show up and we give you a pill, and then the pill fixes the problem because the symptom goes away. And we all know that just because you're taking insulin, it doesn't mean that you're no longer diabetic. It just means that your body, it's not like you've reversed the situation. The insulin is masking the excess or helping you manage the excess blood sugar. But the problem is the actual insulin insensitivity of the entire body to not be able to get that out and into the body itself. And so it's not the drug that fixes the diabetes. It's always the body that fixes the diabetes. And yet people want to, we walk around with this false sense of hope and this false sense of security in that if, I take the blood pressure pill and my blood pressure's down, well, I've fixed my heart disease. And that's such a lie. It's such an untruth. It's that you're masking the symptom. You're not fixing the problem, and the cause is always the cure. And so do you want, if I asked you the question of, do you wait to plant, if you have a plant, do you wait to water that plant until you see it withering down and it's brown and dead? Or do you water it all the way along? Right? I mean, it makes perfect sense. So many people, they wait to drink water until they're thirsty. And so they are in a constant, so that's your body saying, wait a second, I'm dehydrated. I need the water. That's like you're withering. Your body is in that, so we all understand, or I hope people through this show and through the other things that we do at the office, understand that a half an ounce per pound of body mass is the proper amount of water, as best as we can tell, for the average person during their normal daily activities. If you're going to go out and sweat in the yard and do yard work, then you need some more. So it's a half ounce. So just divide your body weight by 2, make that the minimum number of ounces of water you drink a day. And then that will help you stay hydrated, and you can drink water and should be drinking water constantly, but it shouldn't be out of a desperate need of thirst. And that's the only time you drink. You can always drink more if you are thirsty, but waiting until that response is like waiting to water a plant when you see it's dead. Do people wait until they have a disease before they start to eat right? Unfortunately, yeah. Do people wait until they've gotten severely obese before they start to exercise? Unfortunately, yes. But is that the right thing to do? Or would it be a lot easier to do some exercise all the way along and never reach that point and have to reverse the problem? It comes to the same situation. Is it easier to stay well, or is it easier to get well? When you're looking at chronic disease, we all know it's easier just to avoid it. Do you wait till you're in pain until you get adjusted? I mean, that's, just ridiculous. That's like waiting for your tooth to hurt before you brush your teeth. The cavity's eaten its way all the way through the enamel of the tooth, gotten to the root of the tooth, and now it hurts. There is something you can't ignore. Well, so many people treat chiropractic the same way, in that they think hey, my spine doesn't hurt, it must be okay. Not understanding that the reality of chiropractic is that your whole body is run by your nerve system, and 90% of the nerve system does not signal pain. 90% is either afferent fibers going out to tell something what to do, or I should say efferent, and then afferent coming back to the body from the organ, telling that body, the brain, what the organ is doing. And so there's this constant loop, this feedback loop, or what we call the safety pin cycle. And the safety pin cycle is going on constantly, running, perpetuating the life force in your body. And with the lack of connection, the lack of fluidity of that connection is going to cause a decrease in the function, in the life, in the quality of life. And so, as always, step one, Health 101. Hey, doc, what's the number one thing I can do to change my life? It's make sure that your spine and your nerve system works right. Hey, doc, what's the number one thing I can do to, maintain my health for the rest of my life? It's maintain your nerve system, maintain your spine, have good posture, have good flexibility, get checked and get adjusted regularly if you need that adjustment. And so, when we look at this, oh, there's a different banner. Hey, good. Hey, there's the banner. It's rolling out. If you're in down in Georgia, down below us, then you can call Dr. Dan Moss. And there's ours for Chattanooga and the Trenton tri-state area. So we have to ask ourselves, pardon me. Wish I'd remembered the water. When we think about these things, it's just like my shirt, eat well to live well. That has to be a focus if what we're going to do is maintain versus try to recover. And so when we look at these things, we're constantly assessing ourselves, I hope. That which goes unmeasured it's not measured. You can't change it. You don't know how to influence it. You don't know whether it's doing well or doing bad. And that's why it's so important for so many people who aren't under regular chiropractic care to get a checkup. It's like the lady who named Joy, who was been suffering from headaches for 65 years and now has spent the last 8 weeks now headache free, simply by starting getting adjusted. And whether it's the little baby who is going to be on Facebook soon, man, look forward to putting all this stuff out there. It's a little young man who had torticollis who came into me, and now I think maybe 6 or 8 adjustments later, his torticollis is gone. He can move his head. The baby is lifting and twisting and turning his head the other way. Tummy time's not a struggle. And I look at I just had another baby, and seeing the massive changes in our child Eliana, just in all the boys, but yet in Eliana, since she's so new, just day to day, week to week, and her ability to control her head motion, all these things. And then here we have this young man who brought in the office, who is like 3.5 months old, and his head's been stuck to one side, and he couldn't turn and couldn't nurse properly and all these other things. And literally like 6 or 8 adjustments later, the kid can move his head properly, and he's got full control and can even lay on his stomach and turn. And so we'll put those videos out. And come on, how many other kids are missing that miracle and going through the same thing? How many people are out there in churches who are diabetic, who have no idea that they can reverse diabetes? How many people are out there with heart disease who think that blood pressure medication and cholesterol medication is the only option that they have? And one of the biggest things, so many people ask me, Doc, I think what's the number one success factor that will determine things, and it's to never refuse to quit, to never refuse to quit, to try, and that we all have to understand that right now is the only time. It's we can't wait for the right time. We can't wait for the right environment. We can't wait for the right job. We can't wait for the right season. So many people, there's so many things that are waiting on the next drug. Like the whole world right now is waiting on the vaccine, when we know that the thing that determines whether or not you have bad effects from this virus is your comorbidities. And in 120 days, I can change the blood profile of any person who will maintain a regimen and stay focused and committed. I can literally, their whole blood's going to be brand new in 120 days. So we can have a totally different person on our hands in 120 days if they'll do the lifestyle changes and get adjusted and have their power turned back on and literally restore the focus back to the principle of the fact that your body will always be doing better the better you treat it. The better that your nervous system functions, the healthier you are. And you can't wait for the next environment. You can't wait for the next job. You can't wait for the next season. Your body's changing every day. In 120 days from now, every living blood cell in your body is going to be brand new. I mean, your cholesterol is going to be different. Your clotting factors, your inflammatory markers, everything's going to be brand new in 120 days. So for the next 120 days, what do you want? What is the person that you want to see in 120 days? And so, what makes it possible is you have to know that it's possible. You have to believe right here that it's possible. Then you have to refuse to quit. And then you have to stay committed to the process. And then you have to take massive action to reach those goals. You got to be willing to make those changes. And so, if there's anything in the world that I wish for people, it's this beautiful thing that we call life. And it's this beautiful thing that we have as health. And I wish that for every person, and that we have to know that it's possible to be healthy and to maintain and to grow, and that it's always about our commitment to the purpose and that just refusing to quit. And so I hope that this meets you there out in the digital world with love and respect, and just helps you stay motivated to whatever that commitment is to your health and to your life, and helps you reach those goals with a wonderful smile. Call the office if you want the fellowship of an office that's based on looking at your potential instead of your problems. If you want a doctor who's focused on your potential instead of your diagnosis, and if you want a doctor who is focused on the goals that you set for yourself, like the gentleman yesterday, he said, I used to love to fish, but I don't have the health to go do it anymore. Well, hey man, good enough. Let's get you fishing again. That's whatever that is, that's our goal with the chiropractic care. And just give us a call, get you and your family checked for your next appointment or for your checkup, chiropractic, and then we'll move into the other 5 essentials. So be well, be blessed, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back here, same time, same channel.